What's up YouTube? Today's video will be a special one. I will share with you a complete guide if you are new to the soccer card market, and I believe this video in the future can actually help a lot of people. If you can leave a like right now, thank you so much for that. At the end of the day is the best way to show support. A couple of things before we go into this video, and like I said, this is a special one. I will leave a link below the video if you want to join my Discord and my Patreon, and I will also try to put a QR code on the screen if you want to go that way. Putting all of that out of the way, let's go into the video. Hope you have fun. So guys, before we go into the guide, I would love to share my collecting journey with you. I will try to go quite fast, but putting in perspective how I end up getting here, I believe is quite important. Cards have been part of my life since I was a kid. I collected Panini stickers, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards and other random stuff. But around 11-12 years old, I got introduced to Magic the Gathering, very popular game, and since then I never stopped playing the game. Apart from me being a player, I was also a huge collector, and I did a lot of mistakes in my collecting journey, but eventually I find my path collecting vintage Magic the Gathering. I'm talking about early sets, Alpha, Beta, Arabian Nights, maybe I'm speaking Chinese for you, but you get the point. Early sets / reserved list, and because of that I started approaching the game with a more value investor mindset, and ended up working very well for me. I ended up selling my collection later, even though I still collect nowadays, but in a smaller scale, since soccer is my priority, but my return was amazing and up helping me a lot actually in my life. I ended up making a video for Instagram and TikTok that I would love to share with you right now. It's 60 seconds, but I try to explain to new people why you should collect soccer cards, the 3 main reasons to collect soccer cards. So let's play it. Okay, so a couple of reasons to collect soccer cards. The first one is very obvious. I'm talking about potentially biggest sport in the world, biggest stars, biggest event. The second one is probably even more important, and we are still early on the market. If you don't know about soccer, soccer is actually growing quite a lot in the US, and collectibles are getting bigger and bigger when it comes to international demand. Before I go into the third point, if you can leave a like, I would appreciate quite a lot. The third point is a complex one, but I think the most important one. Collecting soccer is very different than collecting any other sport. If you want to collect the Zlatan Ibrahimovic rookie, you need to understand that sticker was actually released in Sweden. Cristiano Ronaldo cards, the earliest ones, end up being released in Portugal, or Neymar in Brazil. And as you can see, there is a lot of diversity. You need to understand different countries, and I think that's amazing. So diversity and fun, and apart from that, pops are still fairly low for the biggest stars. So I thought this was a quick explanation, but a good one. And people always ask me, oh, am I too late to the soccer card market? I don't think so. I believe we are just getting started, and I have a lot of videos on my channel explaining why. This was a quick explanation, but I guess you get the point. Okay, so let's move on. And this will be a guide that my big goal with this will, look, if you are totally new to the soccer card market, if you are even new to cards, I really want to give you explanation that is difficult to find online, is difficult to find so much information gathered in just one video. So let's say you are new to the market, and look, there is a lot of players, there is a lot of sets, a lot of eras. What do I need to know? Well, the first thing is actually quite simple. There is 3 different eras in the soccer card market: vintage, pre-modern, and modern. Let's start with vintage. Well, vintage is quite easy to understand. We are talking about older sets, also older players because of that. Anything pre-80s. And by the way, some people will debate me and say anything pre-90s, anything pre-70s. At the end of the day, there is no rules in what defines vintage versus pre-modern versus modern. This type of concepts, the market tends to agree more or less around 80s, but You can also find probably people that disagree with me on this one. Does not matter that much if you ask me. So vintage, anything pre-80s. In this era you have all-time greats like Cruyff, like Beckenbauer, Garrincha, but the two biggest names without a doubt are Pelé and Maradona. Those are what people call the GOATs in the vintage market, and even if you compare with the soccer world, forget cars right now, I think most people will debate was Maradona better than Pelé? Pelé was better because won 3 World Cups, but Maradona won a World Cup alone. So this type of debates you also can find on the soccer world, but when it comes to cards, you also find that, and these are the two biggest names. I would say Pelé is above when it comes to cards. In pre-modern, it's also quite easy to understand what are the biggest names. Why? Because the era goes from 80s to 2013, and you guys know Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi end up dominating the soccer card world, end up being, for a lot of people, actually the two GOATs. So another thing that I also want to add into this conversation is when you talk about GOATs, the greatest of all time, the debate goes around 4 players, and are the ones you are seeing on the screen, starting with Pelé, Maradona, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Some people will say Di Stefano, Cruyff, maybe put Zidane, but these 4 names are actually quite common to see people referring to them like the 4 best players ever. In this era, you also have all-time greats like Zidane, Iniesta, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, but like I said, the 2 biggest names without a doubt are Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. The rookie year for Messi was 2004, the rookie year for Cristiano Ronaldo was 2002. If you don't even understand the concept of rookie, I guess you need to do more research, but I will explain very quick. It's basically the first collectible when it comes to cardboard for a player. Modern. Well, modern is probably one of the most popular eras in the market. It's the one that I collect the least, but modern is very popular, like I was saying. And the 2 biggest names in modern are without a doubt Mbappé and Erling Haaland. Both players are very known right now among soccer fans. I guess you can see some logic at all the 6 players I have on the screen. So in vintage we have the 2 GOATs, Maradona and Pelé. In pre-modern we have Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. But the new generation, if you ask anyone what are the 2 players that people think, you know what, these guys may win the Ballon d'Or, I think Haaland and Mbappé probably will be very common names that people will throw at you. So in this era, you still have players like Messi, Neuer, Ronaldo. Why? Because they are still playing, so there is modern cards for them. And this era goes from 2014 until today. Sometimes people do not like to buy Messi, they like to buy the next Messi. Haaland and Mbappé are 2 players that get more speculators / investors. One thing that I want to explain to you, and this will be very quick, is why modern starts in 2014. Actually, this is very easy to understand. In 2014, the first big American set, Panini Prism 2014 World Cup, ended up getting released, and since then the market ended up changing. A lot of Americans ended up entering the market, and we try to go by that. Modern starts in that set. Another thing, and I know I'm going a bit long on this topic, in vintage there is different eras. For example, there is pre-war, and there is a lot of pre-war collectors, but pre-war is still vintage. In modern, same logic. For example, nowadays a lot of people say there is ultra-modern. Ultra-modern starting in 2018, when even more sets, even more American sets start hitting the market. I think if you are starting, these are the top players you need to be aware. These are the 3 eras you need to be aware, but things are more complex than that if you keep researching the soccer card market. For now, I think this will do it. Moving on. What makes one card more collectible than other? Well, this is a very difficult answer. At the end of the day, cards are worth what the market believes. Why? There is no intrinsic value related with cards. There is multiple examples in TCGs and sports of cards that at one point are very relevant / expensive, and over time the market moved from them. But there is also a lot of examples of cards only getting stronger over time. Mickey Mantle 52, probably a very good example of that. The demand versus supply logic applies in cards very well. By the way, I also want to add another example. So I said Mickey Mantle 52, Black Lotus in Magic the Gathering, Charizard Shadowless base set first edition, also probably another good example. Over time, these cards have been appreciating quite a lot when it comes to price value. The demand versus supply logic applies in cards very well. Understanding supply is easier than understanding demand, but still quite difficult. Rarity does not make one card more expensive than the other. That being said, rarity is a key fundamental when you are trying to find the value for one specific card. I have my own fundamentals, and by the way, there is a lot of videos on this topic on my channel, to judge value in cards: rarity, demand, potentially demand, lineage, history / lore on the card, eye appealing, etc. There is 2 cards on the screen. What card do you think the market cares the most? Well, the answer is actually quite easy. The market cares much more for the 2004 Mundicromo than the 2006 Lionel Messi. And by the way, I have both cards. This Messi is a rookie card. Like I said, the first year that Panini, or in this case Mundicromo, started making cards for Lionel Messi. So this is a rookie card. You need to understand this concept. The other card is a very, I would say, popular set in Modern, Select, but does not represent anything special on Messi career. You can ask me, so why you have that card? Well, because I'm a Messi collector and I end up loving the look of the card. But when you look at these 4 cards, pop total for them, all the grades, this is over 900 copies, talking about the Mundicromo one, and the other one is only 4 copies. But if you want to buy a mid-grade or even, let's say, an 8 for the Messi, talking about, I will talk about grading in a second, by the way, you probably pay more for this one, even though the other one is a bit more rare. As you can see on the back, this is numbered out of 20. So in the worst case scenario, the pop total for this will be 20, because there is only 20 of this in the world. Moving on, rookie / key sets, this creates collectability, and because of that, demand. What you are seeing on the screen is a very good example of that. So I end up sharing with you one rookie for Lionel Messi, but this is actually the main rookie. What I mean with the main rookie, there is a couple of releases in 2004, and over time people end up going, you know what, I like this more than that, and because of that, one becomes the main rookie. Of course, there is fundamentals behind that, but at the end of the day is what the market says. And this card tends to be the card that more people refer when they talk about a Messi rookie, making this card very popular in the hobby. So this card at the top grade, PSA 10, sold for over 300k. A lot of money. I understand you think I don't have that money. You do not need to be a millionaire to play in the hobby. You can find a lot of great stuff, and I will show a couple of examples in a second for very little money that can even appreciate in the future. Who knows? The second one is 2014 Panini Prism World Cup, and I already talked about this set in this video. This was the set that ended up introducing Modern in the soccer card market. Because of that, cards in that set are quite expensive, especially low numbered cards. And this is a very good example of this. This is Lionel Messi out of 10. This card sold close to 500,000. Very popular card in the hobby, very difficult card to find. Another set that is quite important in the Modern market is Topps Chrome 2017. This is the first year Topps Chrome appears. This is the first year that Topps tried to make a huge splash in the soccer card market, and because of that, the first set for Topps is automatic, a very relevant set among collectors. This Messi is out of 10 also. In this case, there is an autograph for Messi, end up selling close to 100k. So you can see big prices for all 3, and this goes into what I was saying. Rookies or key sets, in this case, creates collectability, and that generates demand. Moving on, and these are the most expensive cards ever in the soccer card market. If you want to pause the video, I will not take a long time talking about this, but this can give you a good idea of demand for certain players. You can see a bunch of Pelés, a couple of Messis, a Cristiano Ronaldo rookie, Haaland also making the top. Then you have, for example, Puskás, another legendary player. But I have a video on my channel where I talk about the top 10 most expensive soccer cards ever without even repeating names. So instead of seeing a bunch of Pelés, you'll see a different player every time, or at least a different card every time. Soccer diversity. This is one of the biggest assets we have in the soccer card market. So looking at basketball, a very popular card market in the hobby, you can see a lot of big names, Michael Jordan, Jerry West, LeBron James. In the more modern side, Zion Williamson, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant. You guys probably know all of these names. But the cards you are seeing on the screen, I would say, are rookie material for most players. And what's the thing they have in common? All from the United States of America. So if you want to collect them, if you are from the United States, I would say it's quite easy. If you have money, they are in America most likely. What's the difference between this and soccer? Well, it's quite different. So a bunch of big names in the soccer card market, Gerd Müller, Cristiano Ronaldo, Maradona, Sir Bobby Charlton, Ibrahimovic, Zidane, Messi. Well, the Messi card was released in Spain, the Zidane card in France, Ibrahimovic in Sweden, Bobby Charlton, England, Maradona, Argentina. I guess you get the point, right? Different, the diversity in soccer is crazy. Of course, that creates some barrier automatic to find this type of cards, because if you want to find them raw, most likely they will not appear in the United States of America or in the country you live. You need to go for the specific country you are targeting, or you can buy graded, and if that's the case, this point makes less sense. But if you are operating in a more raw market, you need to grind without a doubt. Apart from that, there is always new stuff appearing. We are still a market that is getting discovered. I tend to say there is explored markets and unexplored markets, and soccer in general is a giant unexplored market. Moving on, and if you are new to grading, you may ask me, why grading? Well, first of all, authentication. When you grade a card, an expert will first see if the card is real or not. Fakes are a thing, especially with expensive cards. The second point will be condition rarity. If your card passes authentication, so let's say your card is real, there is no problem with that, you get a grade. The standard goes from 1 to 10, even though this can vary from different grading companies. 1 is basically a card in very poor condition. 10 is probably the best grade you can find, and this the card in gem mint condition. Some companies say flawless, some companies say pristine. It will depend. Grading companies tend to have different definitions. For example, in PSA, it's a card in gem mint condition. This Messi have over 400 copies graded, but in the best grade, PSA 10, there is only 19 copies, and people try to chase that. The last point will be value. This sticker raw sells around $400. This is a rookie sticker for Robert Lewandowski. In a PSA 10, this card sold for $17K. A lot of times is worth to grade. If you have a sticker in poor condition, maybe not. But if you believe you have a chance to get a good grade, let's say, you know what, I think I have a Lewandowski that can get a 9 or a 10. You should grade the card. That makes a lot of sense, and you automatically add value to that. So a good example of this will be Ansu Fati card. I end up finding this example on a French channel, James Cards UFC, another amazing content creator. Condition rarity means value. So as you can see, if you buy this Ansu Fati rookie card raw, it's around $20. If you get a PSA 5, it's around $10. So you should only grade this card if you believe will be above PSA 5, PSA 6. But if you get a PSA 9, and by the way, this is a fairly recent card, so most likely you can still find one in good condition, this card automatically gets a premium, so close to $100. But guess what? If you can find a 10, and of course that's not easy at all, you can get more than $1,000. How crazy is that? So you probably understand, that's why people grade, because cards become much more expensive when they get a top grade, a good grade. So moving on, Now you can ask me, okay, but what company should I ask? So the card you are seeing on the screen is a very popular card in the hobby. This is a rookie card for Mbappe. And you are seeing the card in 3 different grading companies. The first one is Beckett, as known as BGS. The second one, the most popular brand, is PSA. And the last one is SGC. PSA is the leader in the market and because of that gets a premium among collectors. BGS/SGC are also big companies. SGC, for example, is very well respected in the vintage market. That being said, this is a very relative topic and also a complex one. Certain cards, they probably make sense to send to SGC. Most cards, I would say, probably makes more sense to send to PSA since there is a premium on the market, but this is not that clear. You need to put a lot of research in this type of stuff. I would say one thing, do your own research, but in general, and like I said, this is a complex topic, in general, PSA should be the grading company you choose if you want to get the best potentially valuable value possible. Moving on, now you are asking, okay, but you are talking about stickers, you are talking about cards, what's going on? Well, let's talk about that. In soccer, stickers are super important. Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, only have 2 rookies. The first year, by the way, I will repeat myself, but the first year the player appears in a card sticker. In this case, 1 card and the other is a sticker. So both are 2002, both are in the rookie year, and people collect both. One is a card, one is a sticker, but people collect both. And in soccer, you need to open your mind. If you think, I just care about cards, I don't even think that's a great approach, because certain players, they don't even have cards, they have rookie stickers. In this case, the market pays more for the card at the top grade, PSA 10, but there is examples where the sticker sells for more. And who knows if in the next 10 years this will stay true. The reality is simple. Both are very important. Sometimes the players just have rookie stickers, other times they just have a rookie card. Ronaldo, like I said, have both, and because of that they are very important. Stickers are a big part of the soccer culture in Europe and even South America, for example. Collecting stickers album is very common. So if you believe the market will grow in Europe, in South America, etc., I actually can see stickers becoming even more important, maybe even more important than cards. I don't think that's completely crazy, especially looking at the vintage and pre-modern era. Now you can ask me, okay, so what should I collect? First of all, collect you like. But if you are thinking about prospecting or legends, I'm talking about players that the career is basically Lewandowski still playing, but let's be real, Lewandowski is already one of the best strikers ever. Then you have players like Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, Cruyff, that are already legends. You do not need to care about performance since their careers is already done. But then you have players like Pedri, Musiala, ADM, Haaland, that, you know what, they have crazy talent, but we still need to see what will happen with their careers. So prospecting or legends depends on your risk tolerance. I risk, I reward, but you can also lose a lot. You can collect a mix of both, of course. I personally stay away of prospecting since I tend to hold cards long run, and prospects are very dangerous for my way of collecting / investment. So let's say I'm collecting, in this case, investing in ADM, and by the way, ADM seems like an amazing player, but who knows what ADM will be in 5 years from now. Maybe instead of playing at Borussia, he's playing at Manchester City, and I will probably make a lot of money since his career ended up probably going to the next level. But what if he's playing in a random team in Bundesliga? So all of these scenarios, they can happen. You guys probably can think about a lot of examples when it comes to new kids that end up not becoming a thing. Pato for AC Milan. That guy at one point people thought would be the next Ballon d'Or. His career ended up being actually quite... I would say bad. Think about Balotelli, for example. So, and eventually there is a lot of guys that we are hoping a lot for them that they will probably not meet our expectations. There is a lot of new prospects in our market. The reality is quite simple. Most will fail. We'll see a lot of people looking for the next Ronaldo or Messi. If you have been watching football for some years, you know how difficult this tends to be. It's very difficult to find a new Messi, it's very difficult to find a new Maradona, but people always try to put that type of claims. This guy will be the next, this guy will be the next. In reality, no one knows. Of course, and I also want to say this, if you pick the right player and you are in a early stage in his market, you can make a crazy return in your investment. Haaland is actually a very good example of that. I remember people buying Haaland quite cheap. Right now, Haaland is one of the most expensive players we have in the market, and he's playing out of his mind. So there is also the scenario that you can win huge. Like I said, high risk, high reward. You may win big, but you also can lose quite a lot. Prospecting and gambling are quite similar at the end of the day, even though you never lose the entire investment. Like if you bet in a team, if the team loses, okay, all your money is gone. In cards is a bit different, to be honest, but if you keep holding, you can get to a point that, okay, maybe not 100% of your investment, but maybe 90%. So I'll always have that in mind. Collecting legends, what I enjoy the most. If you believe in the soccer card market, in the rarity / relevance of certain card you are buying, you don't need to worry about that player's career. Let's start with an example. So Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, this is a rookie sticker for him. Well, the reality is quite simple. If the rarity on this card is strong, as people tend to think, let's say condition rarity, if you have one, if you end up buying one, if the soccer card market grows, or let's say, I'm saying Ronaldo, let's say Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, etc., what you believe will happen with this type of players' cards? Well, okay, they are so important. If the soccer card market grows in general, they probably follow the same trend, and I agree with you if you are also thinking that. Now, let's say you are investing in Pedri or ADM. Let's say the soccer card market grows. Do you think automatic these two players will get a premium? I'm not sure. Why? Because, sorry, the soccer card market growth could be 5 years, 10 years. And in 5 years, 10 years, we are not sure if these two guys will be relevant. But guess what? I can guarantee you one thing. Messi will be relevant. Cruyff will be relevant. Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, will be relevant. So you need to understand this. You can hold legends you can feel more comfortable holding legends for the next 5 years, 10 years than holding a new prospect. So, but like I said, you can also make a lot of money if you invest in the right player that is exploding right now in the scene, because the demand will increase a lot over time and you end up having an amazing entry point. Not for me, I think it's very related to gamble. I prefer to go for already established type of players. Modern product. Well, the reality is you have multiple options if you are trying to enter the modern market. Like I said, the two most important brands in modern, at least looking in a historical way, are Panini Prism World Cup and Topps Chrome UEFA Champions League. When I talk about modern, you may assume, oh, he's talking about Mbappé, Haaland, etc. Not all the time, of course. Players like Cristiano Ronaldo, players like Messi, they are still playing, so there is modern cards for them. They end up being part of two different eras since they started so early, so they also have pre-modern cards, but they have also modern cards. I think this is also very important to put in perspective. So right now you have multiple options. Do your own research. Like I said, Prism and Topps Chrome tend to be quite popular, but nowadays there is Sapphire, there is Top Stadium, there is Select. At the end of the day, some people will tell you one thing, other people will tell you another thing. Like I said, and I don't think people will question this, the two most important sets in modern are Topps Chrome 2017 and Prism 2014. Okay, now you can tell me, André, that's great, but where can I buy or sell soccer cards? This is a difficult question, of course, but there is a lot of places. I believe at this point you already know about eBay, and eBay is probably the best place when you are starting for multiple reasons. You can pay with multiple options, PayPal, credit card. Apart from that, you have protection as a buyer. A lot of things to like about eBay. Apart from that, you can find raw cards or already graded cards. Everyone can create an account and sell by there quite fast and very easy also. So then there is two big auction houses for graded soccer cards right now in our market. I'm talking about PWCC and Goldin auctions. I use PWCC a lot, but Goldin is also quite important. Since soccer is an international sport, most of pre-modern / vintage releases are from Europe or South America. There is other exception. There is certain cards end up releasing in Australia, but in general I would say Europe and South America. To find raw product, you can go to their own national classifieds websites. There is a lot, by the way. Toda Colección, this one that you are seeing on the screen, is probably the most popular for Spanish releases. So let's say you are trying to look for Messi rookies, Xavi or Iniesta rookies, that will be an amazing place to take a look. But you have multiple options, like I said, Vinted, Mercado Libre, if you want to find Argentina releases, or Mercado Livre, just a different letter in that word, if you want to find early stuff in Brazil or even pre-modern stuff. Again, do your own research, but there is a lot of websites. The biggest problem with buying outside of your country is the language barrier. Some people just buy on eBay.com. For me, this is actually a big mistake. Take a look at eBay UK, eBay Spain, eBay Italy, and others, okay? This is another topic that you need to do research. End up sharing with you a lot of big websites that if you want to start, those will be enough. I believe when you are starting, eBay is enough. Over time, you'll start looking at different websites, but this is something, like I said, you need to do your own research. Comps and pop report. So this is probably one of this could be the most important topic in this video. You need to understand a couple of things. To define the correct price to sell or buy, you need to see past results. This is crucial. If a Ronaldo Mega Cracks PSA 5 is selling on eBay for 10k, that does not mean the card is worth 10k. Everyone can list the cards for whatever price they want. I guess you can understand this. You can sell your house for 1 million. Does not mean people will pay you that amount of money. What you need to do when you are trying to buy a house, you need to see what other houses similar to yours in your region also end up selling. You should apply the same logic when it comes to cards. You need to see what the PSA 5 Mega Cracks Ronaldo sold in the past, specifically recently, not 1 year ago, because you know what, maybe the market ended up growing quite a lot, or maybe the market ended up going down quite a lot. So recently comps is very important. You also need to understand pop reports. If you are buying a Ronaldo Mega Cracks raw, you need to know how many are graded already to have an idea about rarity, especially in this case condition rarity. That being said, sometimes population reports are popularity reports. Of course, players like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi will be graded a lot, but if you want to collect a random player, when I say random, it's relative of course, but there is a likely scenario, you take a look at pop reports and, oh, you know what? 0 graded. Maybe this card is super rare. No, a lot of times these people do not care about the player you are collecting. That's why the population report is so low. I guess a good example will be the Messi 2004 versus the Messi 2005. As you can see, the 2004 have over 900 copies. The 2005 much lower, exactly 100 copies. This does not mean that the 2005 is more rare than the 2004. What this means is the 2004 being a rookie card, there is much more people trying to grade that card, trying to find this card in good condition in Spain versus the other one. The other one is also a great card, by the way, but this is a very good example. One card is much more popular than the other, but in terms of rarity, they should be similar, even if the pop report is not showing right now. Moving on. I end up making a video for you guys that I will explain you can take a look at the PSA population report plus looking at last camps. So let's play it. So guys, I thought it was important to actually explain how to check population reports and also past sales on eBay plus other platforms. This is actually quite easy and everyone can do it. Let's start with PSA. Basically, you go to the PSA website like I did and click pop report. Then what you need to do is also very easy. You can search by player, by set is up to you. I like to search by player, so let me put, for example, Messi. And when I click enter, the first thing that I will notice is all the releases are in order. In this case, sometimes even the collectibles, since PSA also tracks tickets. For example, what I carry soccer cards, I can actually even choose that, but let's take a look. So 2004 is the rookie year in terms of cardboard for Lionel Messi, and as you can see, I can check all the cards for Lionel Messi in 2004, then it comes to 2005, 2006, etc. If you look at the entire page, there is actually 12 pages for Lionel Messi. So the card I want to check could be, for example, the Mundi Cromo, one of the most popular rookies for Lionel Messi, this one that you are seeing on the screen. And let's see the population report. But as you can see, I don't find Messi that easy. There is a lot of players. Why? Because this also shows the population for other players in the 2004 Mundi Cromo La Liga set. What you can do is actually try to find the Messi one, if you know the number. I know it's 617, but the other tip, especially for longer sets, will be just typing the name Messi. And as you can see, automatic appears. Sometimes there is more than one card in a set for a specific player. In this case, there is just one for Lionel Messi. And I can see the population report, the total, the number of 10s, the number of 9s, the number of 8s. You get the point. Actually, another thing that is also quite important to understand is if you want to check the, let's say, the population total for the set, PSA also gives you that information. So you can see these numbers are for all the graded cards in this set, not Messi alone. I think I end up explaining this, I would say, quite easy. Nothing that I'm sharing right now is too complicated to do. Very, very simple. Taking a look at SGC is also quite simple. You go to the SGC website and you also click on the link that says Pop Report, and after that is very, very easy. The biggest difference between PSA and SGC is PSA lets you search by player. That I love that, and on SGC you need to go by set, but it's also not that difficult. You need to click I'm not a robot. If you are a land, you cannot search on SGC, but that being said, this should be quite easy. So let's actually, I don't want to search a Messi card. I want to search a Cristiano Ronaldo card, and I know the set that Cristiano Ronaldo have, the rookie card, is Mega Crack. So I know it's 2002, 2003 Mega Cracks, but let's say I don't even know the year. I just know it's Mega Cracks. What you can do is you can type Mega Cracks and click search, and let's see what happens. So as you can see, this puts by order all the Mega Cracks sets. Since I said I know it's 2002, 2003, I just click on the set that I know is the correct, and I can see the pop report for that Cristiano Ronaldo card. Same logic with PSA. Quaresma is not Cristiano Ronaldo, even though was also an amazing player, but he's also graded in this set. That's why you also see Quaresma appearing. Normally PSA tends to have much more card as grades than SGC, even though in Vintage sometimes SGC also have a lot. But as you can see, the total is 18, and then you can look at grades, and with that you can make a lot of decisions if you are trying to enter, in this case, the Cristiano Ronaldo market. So I think quite easy. Beckett is similar, but I do not like to use Beckett, so I'm explaining just PSA and SGC. But there is actually a very interesting tool that is quite recently, actually. I'm talking about the website GemRate. This is actually an amazing website. You can find a lot of information. Actually, let's go to the front page instead of start talking about looking at pop reports, and you can see even trends when it comes to PSA grading. In the last 30 days, you end up grading around 1 million cards in the last 7 days. Recent pace for a year of grading cards. I think this is actually great information, and you can find even a breakdown in terms of sports TCGs getting graded. All of this is good stuff. I love data, and I think we can find a lot of great data in this website. For now, at least, totally free. So you go to gemrate.com, then you click on player data. We need to wait a bit. This website is actually a bit slow for some reason today, But when you click on player data, it's actually taking too long. But as you can see, automatic goes to a different page that let you search by player. I have no idea who Emmy Smith is, since I'm European and I just like soccer. So what I will do is I will change the name of this player and I will put Cristiano Ronaldo again. You can do this for any other player by, I think it's also very easy to understand, right? So I end up clicking Cristiano Ronaldo player submit, and as you can see, this is actually shows me something that I think is great. On PSA, 34% of the Cristiano Ronaldo cards end up getting a PSA 10, so gem rate. Then you have the total grades, the total gems, and the percentage and the number of cards. I'm sorry. So very, very good information. I love this website. But the best thing about this website is you can actually do something that is very, very important for most people. Instead of PSA, you can choose SEC, CSG, Beckett, and search players that way. I will go with PSA for this one. And let me see, for example, by the way, this is not by order, but you can look by order just using the filter option. Let me see for Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks what's going on PSA. And I love this type of stuff because it shows actually the growth in the last, normally tends to be 1 year, sometimes it's less, I believe sometimes could be more, but at least normally I believe should be 1 year, better saying. So you can see that 1 year ago the population report for this card was 157 and right now is 275. Again, with that you probably can make a lot of smart decisions. You know what, actually was expecting more. You know what, I was actually expecting a little bit less. So I think all of this is very, very important. You can even check by day the gem rate, if end up changing or not, the number of cards graded. I think all of this stuff is quite amazing. There is a lot of amazing things you can do on this website, top cards all time. You can also see how much a set is increasing, but this is a good way to actually check pop reports for multiple companies. I use this website a lot, like I said, but I also use, I sometimes also go direct to PSA, SEC, Beckett, etc. So I think this part is is done basically, and very easy to check a population report. Now you can ask me, okay, but how I know how much a card should be worth? Well, there is multiple ways to know that. One that I use a lot is this website 130point/sales. You can also do this on eBay, just selecting sold items completed lists. I believe it's completed list, but it's sold items. You need to tick that option on eBay. But this website for me is even better. Why? Because when there is a best offer on eBay, sometimes you cannot see what was the best offer. This website actually shows you how much the card end up selling for. So let's start with, actually I was already doing the research, Messi 2004 Mundi Chrome, and I picked sold items, not items for sale. Then I put all categories, and you can even put by highest price. So this will show you the most expensive Messi 2004 Mundi Chrome sold in the last 3 months. Something very important to keep in mind is the data for eBay, at least in this very basic way to search, goes back 3 months. So I click submit, and as you can see, it takes a bit to load, but you can see a couple of cards that sold for this Messi in specific. Of course, there will be certain stuff that should not be appearing. Sometimes people put titles that are a little bit, dubious. That why is putting that? Is trying to get more eyes. But eventually, you start seeing this card selling. And again, if you are buying this card in the future, you can make a much better decision knowing the last comps for this card. Like I said, you can explore this website quite a lot. Recently, there is a new feature on this website that you can actually search all marketplaces. So in this case, instead of only eBay, you also can see PWCC, MySlaps, Goldin, Pristine Auctions, etc. So let's try the same thing now, putting 2004 Mundi Chromo Messi, and see what happens right now. This is actually quite new. So as you can see, now it's showing actually similar things like the last one, but says right now, says eBay, sold via eBay. But then look at this, now appears a different one, PWCC weekly auction, and you can see sold for $700. And you can compare, for example, you know what, this is selling for more on eBay than on PWCC, or is actually selling for much more in a specific auction house, and all of this data is great data. So another thing that I also want to use quite a lot, but I guess the last website also do it, is you go to PWCC Marketplace and you click on Research PWCC sales history. I use this quite a lot. I think this is very, very easy to use. And you do the same thing. You put Messi 2004 Mundi promo and see what happens. Probably what you are expecting. So you can see different sales, shows if this was sold on fixed price on the weekly auction. So all of this, again, repeating myself, great data, and you can do it, is very, very easy. So let's continue with the video. Now the last thing is you need to join/follow communities or content creators. What I mean with this, look, our market is still quite small, but there is a lot of people doing content on YouTube, on Instagram, etc. that you need to follow if you want to learn more. I'm one, but I'm just one. There is a lot of people doing amazing content, and I'm putting a couple of names that I would recommend to everyone. All of them are friends of the channel, and all of them provide different value that I don't provide. Like I said, our community is still very small, but I believe we have amazing content creators. Another thing will be joining my Discord server. We are more than 800 members, and that's an amazing place to learn about the market, to share your perspective about the market, to interact with other collectors. Link will be below the video. There is no reason to not to join. If you want to learn, that's an amazing place to start. My last advice, if I can give you one, will be create an Instagram account, start following people there. There is so many people sharing their collections, and most people will be friendly. If you send a DM to someone that is collecting Messis, most likely that person will answer you, will end up answering you. We are not talking about superstars in the community. If you send me a DM on Instagram, most likely I will give you an answer. Maybe I take some time, but there is a good scenario I will answer you, and I believe all people, all content creators will do the same. But I'm not just talking about content creators. Like I said, create an Instagram account, create a Twitter account, follow people that share their thoughts on the market, and you can build amazing sense of community, amazing, potentially even friendships for the future. At the end of the day, it will be up to you. This is just my recommendation. So the last thing I want to say is there is a lot to learn, my friend, but the journey tends to be the best part. Enjoy the journey, because when you get the card, again, it will be amazing, but the time you put into the market is even better. This is a guide that I believe can help a lot of people. If you are relating with my words, well, guess what? I end up doing this for you. Share this video with friends that may want to start into the soccer card market, may want to participate in this type of hobbies. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.